I'd like to know more about the exotic ESFJ. So why are you? How do you end up with all these people, and why? I
don't know.
What do you like about them?
Nothing.
I don't know. Maybe because I would probably
I'll give you enough time, to think about.
I probably consider myself as quite boring, but I guess you guys probably aren't that boring. Not probably. I mean, you're not.
You can test it.
You're probably you want to do. I guess I would probably be happy just like, I'm just going to sit around and do this thing, and you're like, we're going to go out and we're going to find like donkeys to go riding on. I'm like, okay, let's go and do that.
Definitely, yeah.
It's weird, but we're going to do it anyway. Maybe because they make it more exciting.
It's funny because I would never call you boring ever.
No, that's not the impression I get from you at all.
See, I do. I think I'm quite.
But I know what you mean when you say, like when you gave that example of sometimes you wouldn't want to, like, I will want to go off and do something, I don't know, just not necessarily crazy, but I'll just want to go off and do something and it won't, and you might feel like, I just kind of want to sort of chill and do this or do that. But like today, we had that conversation when we weren't really sure what we were going to do, and I was talking about going tobogganing, and then she was like, I kind of want to walk around here and mince around, and I was kind of like, we can do that in any city. And like in the end, we just sort of like went with the flow, and then we just saw some cool stuff. We saw some really cool stuff. We had a great day, and that's actually quite true because I was like, let's go with the flow.
Is that more because you're more adventurous? Is that a thing? Yeah, is that one of your personality things that you're more adventurous?
Oh, it is.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I do definitely I've learned I can chill very well, and I've learned to chill very, very well over the last few years. I do really enjoy it. The more I get older as well, I must say I enjoy chilling more. But I am very much like some people say, like when I used to live in London, the girls that I used to live with could never understand how I had so much energy all the time. I've noticed about myself, but then as I've been reading, that's my character as well, is enthusiastic and energy. That's one of the things, and I was like, that is definitely me. Because I'm not like, I would just sometimes, when I was in London especially, I was like constant all the time. I like never ever stop at all. Like I lived in a flat I lived in a house for, 9 months? And I put my TV, I had this beautiful TV, I put it right in my bed, and I was so looking forward just to lying in my room one day watching a film. And in 9 months I didn't do it, not once, because I was always up, always out. If I get home I'd be late, I would just go to sleep, and I didn't do it in 9 months. And I realised I'm not good at just chilling by myself. I'm good at chilling with people, but I'm not good at chilling by myself. I'm not good at that.
You don't need that time to recharge though, do you?
Yeah, what were you just saying? Sometimes you're wondering if you're
I might be
introvert?
slightly introvert because I like to spend time on my own. Like me and Lem had this conversation. I love spending time on myself. Like I need it sometimes just to not be near anyone. Yeah. Which is why I think I'm
an ISFJ?
So I don't know. Inverted extrovert, something, I don't know.
I tend, I mean, you should look at, you're the only one who can say that, but based on how quickly both of you, when I was giving you my quick test, and both of you were like, oh no, I'm obviously, you went boom like that. There was no hesitation. I'm like, oh no, I definitely, when I gave you my scenarios of what would be more stressful. But I mean, you can look into it. It is, yeah.
Because you gave the example as being 2 weeks. It was 2 weeks. So if it had been a week, I would possibly have been okay with that.
Okay.
Maybe like 3 or 4 days, possibly.
Well, okay. Maybe would you like me to try and ask you some questions to try and differentiate it, or?
Yeah, go on then.
Yeah, you think? Okay.
I think it was the length of time that weirded me out. I would definitely have enjoyed some time on my own.
Okay. Well, you see that's and this is a good opportunity. It's a good opportunity again to say that a lot of people who are this or that, they say, well, I couldn't be that because I like to do the other thing too, and it's just presumed that we like to do. That we have to do both, actually. It's just a matter of emphasis. Which do we do at least a little? Which would our temperamental inborn leaning have us do if the outcome could be exactly the same? And let's see. But again, you remember the part about how it's mostly about how much energy is going in or out in social interaction. Yeah.
It's tricky. I don't know.
Have you been in? Let me ask you this: have you been in situations in your life where you had a sort of a relative state of solitude imposed upon you, or a relative state of just go, no privacy, constant interaction, people always calling your name, wanting to chit chat, and so forth? Have you been in either of those extreme situations because of like a dorm situation, or
traveling? You're never really on your own ever because you're always in dorms.
And I think
you never really get any time on your own.
And I think even I crave time on my own when even in those situations, like when it's extended long periods of time where
it's normal for everyone.
Yeah, like
Have
it's
a
just
point.
you just want a bit of just time by yourself, really. It's not in any way.
So not even to do anything, literally just to sit maybe and look at your phone.
Yeah.
Or just to sit in the dark with your eyes closed.
100%. Like, I think it's really nice. I remember feeling like that when we were away. Thinking,
Crazy.
Yeah, exactly. Or sit
Because you
facing
just,
the wall.
because when you travel, you don't think about it, but actually, like, you literally never on your own. Like, you just never have those, especially if you're traveling for a shorter amount of time because you're doing so much. And
I
then
quite
you just-
enjoyed bus journeys actually when we were travelling. Because
Really
they'd be
good.
like between 6 and sort of 10 hours. And we'd all dart off to our own separate seats, and that would be a time that you'd have on your own, like watching something, reading, literally
love
looking
that.
out the window, doing nothing. So yeah,
I'm trying to think of how to ask you something that would be more make that clearer, one way or the other about the E or the I. But I mean, in thinking about those more extreme situations, have there been? Okay, here's how I would put it. This might clarify it too. I know, especially for ENFPs, it can be hard to tell just because we're known to be the most introverted of the extroverts.
Oh, really?
Yeah, of the 8 extrovert types, the
interesting.
ENFP tends to, I guess, all tendencies and their exceptions and da. But I certainly had a lot of feedback about that on my another video that I did specifically about ENFP, and so it's that we can have a tremendous amount of energy and expend a whole lot of it and get our energy go up the more interaction we have to a point, but we will have we'll reach that threshold faster than a lot of other extroverts do. And I have noticed that with some other extrovert friends of different types where they can just keep going. Like they really can. We're going away from a big trip or something and like, now we're going to the disco and now we're doing this, now we're meeting new friends, now we're going to the next party. And I'll be like totally full on for the first few phases. But at a certain point, I just start to get that nervous.
Yeah.
It is really almost like an animal feeling of like, has nothing to do with liking the people or not, or liking the activity or not. It's just you get to your limit and that's it. So, but it sounds like maybe you have a pretty high threshold for that too.
Yeah,
or rather
probably
low
less than you. I'm just comparing
threshold
to
for
you.
an extrovert.
I would definitely like be over stuff quicker than you would.
Yeah, definitely. But when you say you're we're the most introverted of the extroverts, does that what does that cover? Like, because I think I could keep going for ages and ages and ages. Like, I definitely love a bit of alone time. Like, I really do. Like, I always think my journey in the morning is like a great bit of alone time just to think, because I'm a real thinker. Like, I have so much shit going through my head all the time that I definitely need time for it to filter myself. If I don't have that, I do feel a little bit like I just need I just need time because I have so many thoughts. But that's why I wonder if that's where I'm more introverted, is like what we talked about, like the whole privacy thing. Like, I know I definitely have an introverted side, but it would might not be. That sounds so silly. It's not shown on the outside because it's inside. But do you know what I mean? It's like I don't think it's a side that people would ever know, because I definitely think it's more of my introvertsy, if that's the word, is definitely more private, but like as in like probably people wouldn't know. Yeah, it'd take me a lot to reach a limit in terms of being with people, and I think it's just because I do get so much out of being with people that I would probably go past, even when I'm at a point where I could probably do with some alone time, I'd probably still be happy to go on and spend more time with people, just because I don't know, I think I feed a lot of people, like I do, and I think a lot of my sort of, I guess maybe my insecurities and things like that, like I don't know, like I always feel better that my insecurities aren't there when I'm with other people, or that kind of thing. I think it's just got a lot of, I don't know, I'm not sure really, but yeah, I definitely have a very high threshold of like I could be with people for a long time and without freaking out, definitely. Yeah.
Well, what makes somebody in this scheme, what makes somebody in quote extrovert or an introvert, is what is the Jungian cognitive function on the top part of the structure of the temperamental makeup in that theory, Jungian theory. So it would be, so if the top function you have is has an extroverted orientation, you will be an extrovert. But everybody has an extroverted function and an introverted function in the upper. So for you, everything you're saying about that of like, but there's this part of me and it's introverted and it's sort of inward looking and quieter and more introspective, and that's very normal, because the only difference is that those the so-called 8 introvert types of the 16, they have that on whatever their top function is an introverted orientation 1.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a stronger introverted one, but then they have an extroverted function right under that. So it toggles from type to type, that is. So, but about Chelsea's ones, I mean, it was very clear. I'll tell you this. This isn't a really good. This is not a standalone kind of evaluation at all. But there often is a correlation. I notice. I mean, when you two first came in here, you were, again, it was not that different from how we're behaving now. A few days into the visit, where we've had some talks, like for some hours even, right? And so that's a much more. Now, some introverts will do that too, you know. And be really, really sociable and open and so forth. But you two were like, hello, like you just came in and you're like, hello, and like just started just being as you are, you know, and really, really open and friendly and
Would you
chatty
have
and
been
all
like that
that.
if I wasn't here?
Yeah.
See, I don't know if I would have been.
Oh,